Welcome everybody, John Zager. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is raining, dumping, pouring rain ever since late last night. Early last night actually here in Colorado. Still doing the same thing. Supposed to rain like this until it says 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock this evening, and then it's supposed to get better, I guess. Stop raining. So, good morning, everybody. I have a great topic for today. Boy, is it a good topic. Homelessness. There ought to be enough just to talk about homelessness, but more specifically, what we're going to talk about this morning, and please stick around, all three of you. Homelessness. Can the program cure homelessness? We know that people that have had terminal illnesses, like almost dead, debilitating terminal illnesses, have self-healed. We know that people that have emotional issues, anxiety, depression, stuff of that nature, have self-healed through the program. Right? So, my question is, I live in a little town in Colorado. I don't know if it's little. It's now 150,000. When I first moved here, it was like 31 or something. And it's got homeless people everywhere. Everywhere. There's homeless and poor people. Never had that before. There was a day in this town you could not find a homeless person. Let alone a poor person. Couldn't find it. And here's the interesting part, which is a tragedy. Nobody is coming to save their asses. Nobody is coming, and by that I mean state, county, city, individuals, churches. Absolutely nobody is coming to save their asses. And excuse my French, it upsets me. There's churches. No, let me be more specific. There are Catholic churches in this town and area that are more interested in building additions to accommodate the wealthy. The premise of the Catholic Church is to help those in need. That's the premise of the Catholic Church. You go across America today, and they're building additions onto Catholic churches to accommodate the wealthy so they get more wealthy people in their parish. Come on, let's not sugarcoat this any longer. Nobody is coming to save the homeless. There isn't any Catholic church that's going to be driving around looking for homeless people to help or figure out how they can help. Ain't happening anymore. Those days are gone. So then we come to Dr. Joe Dispenza's program. Incredible genius of a I don't know, he's a neuroscientist to me. Genius. Started off with this program, this concept. If you do this, this, and this, it's science. It treats your illness is better than medicine in a lot of cases, right? And I think at first, and I've been around since the beginning, right? I think at first he used to have, I'm not privy to his numbers. I'm just privy to what I read or have read in the past about his workshops. He used to go to little speeches and lectures, and thank goodness he did. He did an eloquent job at explaining science so that we could all understand it and possibly have a program that might work for us. And his workshops, he used to do, I know they were several hundred people. And I do know that they were several $100s in cost. Now, that doesn't include your food and your lodging and that kind of thing. I understand that. And for whatever reason, popularity, trend, what he does works. Pretty clear on that, right? I'm not, how would I say this? He's pretty close to well over 500 people at a workshop. He might even be just under 1,000 people at a workshop. I'm not sure of those numbers. But it's double or triple from where he started. And yay, yes, good. That's what it's supposed to be. But the numbers have climbed up and up and up and up. And the types of meditations, you have to add more meditations. He's gone from, I don't know, I think he was 3 and 4 days to 5 days to now he's up to a week, or I'm not even sure how long he goes for. Looking for that transformation that happened in the 3-4 day workshops with fewer people. Now he believes that you have to go all week long. I looked at the cost of a workshop of his, and I thought, and I stand corrected, if the man would ever call me, he won't ever call me. I swear it was $3,500. $3,500. I remember when I was trying to get into one of his workshops, and it was, it seemed like it was just a couple, $200-$300 type thing, or something of that nature. I didn't walk around trying to remember all of his prices. That wasn't important to me. But you get the gist, don't you? Here's the deal. Now the people that get on and do the testimonials are not the people who did the testimonials before. Now the people are getting on and wondering how come they have an ingrown toenail and what meditation works for that. In the past, you had people with terminal illnesses that did testimonials. How is it any different than the Catholic Church, who has this belief since the inception of time that they're there to help people, and now they want to build massive additions to their churches to accommodate the wealthy? How is it any different? It's not any different. I saw in his last blog he was upset at people. Just total disrespect to me, who's out here fighting a good fight every day. You're a beginner at this if you're out there looking for pennies in a parking lot. I've been doing this since he began. And I'm out there in the parking lot looking for pennies, you bet. Absolute. And I work my program every single day. And it is getting better. But there's a lot of similarities to what he talks about today that we were all doing in clinical psychology years and years and years and years ago. There's a lot of similarities in his program that religious organizations are doing and have been doing for a long, long time. I'm just upset. I'm totally upset. And nobody will get online and address this issue. I did my podcasts, I don't know, maybe the last couple months, every day, sometimes twice a day. Started off at 15, 18 minutes, and now I'm pushing 30, 40 minutes. Diligently doing research, trying to address a topic every day that's part of, quote unquote, his program. Spreaker, who I do my podcasts under their app, I guess it is, or I'm not sure what you call it. It's excellent. But I got a statement the other day. Out of all that time in the past, you know how much money they paid me? 2 cents. And it hasn't even been paid. 2 cents out of doing this every single day for months. 2 cents. There's a lot of people I see online that are doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm pretty sure they're not making 2 cents. Now, my listening audience is obviously not like, you know, the Dr. Joe and all these other people, you know, Tony and all that. Okay, I'm fine. I think it says, as I look periodically, there's, I don't know, 30 to 60 people that listen a day. I'm not even sure if that's correct, but the numbers I'm seeing are 30 to 60 a day. My guess is if you don't get 1,000 listeners a day, you're not going to make $10 a month. Probably. So homelessness. This town that I live in is a tragedy, a travesty. It's ridiculous. You go out to the rest area, you know, where the trucks and people that are traveling through town, they can't get in. It's a little city out there of homeless people in old beat-up vehicles that ought to be condemned. Nobody in that whole, you know, there's kind of a parking area there around the building, which might park, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, maybe 30 cars. And then up where the trucks are in the truck lot, you know, now it's just homeless people up there. And that's probably another 50 cars. And the truckers don't have any place, and they're upset, and they're basically pushing homeless people vehicles out of the way. They're going to have a shooting up there before too much longer. The drugs is outrageous out there and in this city now that we have homeless people from all over the country coming here. What's the other thing? You can't go out there from 2 o'clock to, I don't know, 4:30. It's all homosexual people doing homosexual acts in the building. You don't even want to go in and go to the bathroom. You're going to be approached. Homeless people. What would happen to the family that's driving through and decides they need to make a pit stop with their kids, and they go in there to go to the restroom, and there's all these things going on from drugs to sex? What's that about? How do you explain that to your little daughter or son? How do you do that? And you know who the cops want? The cops want the homeless people. They want the homeless people out of this city, out of this town, out of that rest area. If you go park, obviously I do these from parking lots inside my truck, right? They don't want me sitting anywhere longer than 20 minutes anywhere in this town, or I'm a vagrant. Go after the people that are doing the crimes? What's that about? If you roll through, come to a semi-almost complete stop and then make your turn, that's called running a red light in this town because you're homeless? It's a way to push the homeless people out. Here's the deal. Nobody's going to save them. Relatives don't save them. I mean, I sit and I watch every single night. I don't see any relatives coming out there looking for their brothers or sisters or daughters or sons or husbands or wives. I mean, there's everybody out there. It used to be this town got so huge in Walmart, it was like a little town in the parking lots. And then they just flat out started arresting you, giving you these big, huge fines or the choice to leave town and never come back. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible town. It hates homeless people. It does not want to accommodate anybody that is in need. Let's build a bigger church for more wealthy people. Does the program work for homeless people? I haven't ever, in years, heard a homeless person come on and do a testimonial that they're not homeless anymore, that there is some hope and abundance, that they no longer live a life of lack. I don't hear Dr. Joe going out and finding the people in his workshops that might possibly live in lack. Let's not use the word homeless. That might possibly live in lack. I don't hear him going and bringing them up on stage and making his little video thing about how great the program is and he is. What does he want to put that on? That's negative publicity. They can't afford to pay $3,500 to go to one of his workshops. Why would you want to put that on there? Despicable. Utterly despicable. So, I don't see this program working for homelessness. I've never heard of a person homeless, and it goes without saying that that person obviously lives in lack and is probably unemployed for a long period of time. Most of these people are homeless for years, not for months or weeks. Can't find somebody who's been homeless for weeks. Doesn't exist. So this podcast today is a negative podcast regarding the program. Tell Dr. Joe to call me up. Tell him to call me up. Won't do it. Won't ever hear this podcast. Doesn't ever care that this podcast even exists. Doesn't care there's an opinion opposite about packing the auditoriums at $3,500. Maybe I'll change my mind by tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to go back and continue working my program. I started off this morning with, meditating at 4:30. Trying to see how I could be a better me. And this podcast is me being a better me. I can sit back. Here's a homeless person right in front of me with shredded pants. Barely has a coat on. A desperate look on his face, and it's pouring rain. And he looks like no place to go. I'm in where am I at? I'm in a McDonald's parking lot this morning. Nobody cares about that kid walking down the street, looking to probably come inside and get a glass of water and sit down and dry off. Nobody cares about that. If you want to make this a good program, if you want to make this a program, make it all inclusive. Make it all inclusive. So, if there's more than 3 people listening to this podcast anywhere on the planet, contact me. I say that every single day. Nobody contacts me. Nobody. You know why? Because nobody's going to come and save your ass. You're on your own. And if it doesn't affect them and their livelihood and their wellness and their happiness, they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to get involved. My cause might be changing. Maybe my use of time might best be getting some people some help, explaining to people how to heal themselves of homelessness. I did a deal with Tony Robbins. Here, let me just stick my foot in my mouth a little bit deeper today. Couple years ago. Yeah, I guess it was a couple, maybe 2.5 years ago. Tony Robbins went from small little speaking engagements and workshops to massive amounts of people and money to attend, and just he went from very little money, as he says, living in a VW Bug in a, I don't know, 200 or 400 square foot, 200 square foot apartment or something, to a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago, he was worth over $500 million, and he or somebody responded back. I put it out there on the internet. I believe it was him that responded back, but who knows? And I was suggesting that he was now worth over $500 million, and he came back and suggested that it might be several 100,000 more than that. Why would anybody other than Tony Robbins respond back and say that? So, and all that I was asking, here, please listen to this, you guys. Please listen to this. Here's what I was asking back then. Why couldn't you with your resources and assets, do a workshop for the unfortunate people that may be unemployed and homeless, to teach them a program where they could get themselves out of that situation. As opposed to doing massive workshops with massive amounts of people that are massively wealthy and all of that good stuff, why don't you find time to go to Chicago and do a free workshop, free, F-R-E-E, workshop for the disadvantaged people? Never heard back from anyone, let alone Tony. And the thing is that, somebody could have replied back and said, come on, you're unrealistic, and that's not his job, is to do things for free. They could have defended him and that kind of thing. As opposed to what I got was nothing back. And I never pursued it, of course. I'm not going to do that. Same thing with Dr. Joe. I put the same thing out to Dr. Joe. Right now, this morning, I'm putting the same message out to Dr. Joe. And I will not get a reply. Why don't you do a free workshop on people with lack and are disadvantaged? You know what? They don't have a diagnosis. They don't have a terminal illness. They don't have 8 days left to live. So what's the gain in doing that, right? I'm fairly certain, I haven't looked up your deal, and I don't really care to, and I never will, but, I'm fairly certain you're probably worth several $1 million at this point, if not multitude $1 million. How would that hurt to put on a free workshop for some people that are disadvantaged? Why don't you call me up and say, hey, John, I need your help. You seem to have a handle on this that I'm missing. Let's sit down and collaborate with that and see if I can get you to assist me in doing one of those. Just to see how it goes. I'm willing to do that. Anyway, all right, so who knows? This is probably my longest podcast ever, and you guys just do whatever you want. Have a good day. Talk to you all later. See you. Bye.